We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Boom! Headshot!
Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This time I want to do something a little bit different. This is a bit of an update on a previous episode that I did of Why Buy, focusing on Nidalee. In that video, I mostly talked about her as a top lane bruiser, but I believe that I mentioned that she is also viable as a mid lane mage. And AP Nidalee has kind of taken off a little bit. I would say it has become a little bit all the rage. There was a couple of LCS games where she just went crazy good, and there were also some tweaks to her Cougar form that made AD Bruiser Nidalee a little bit less viable. So I think AP Nidalee is probably the way to go, and I want to kind of talk about that. Talk about her playstyles. I actually just finished playing this game, had a ton of fun doing it, and thought it was worth talking about. So AP Nidalee. So the basics here is that you're mostly focusing on your powers in your human form, I would say. You know, you have a very strong. I mean, obviously the spears. Everybody knows Nidalee for the spears. Tremendous range, tremendous damage. Fairly low cooldown. Very, very strong spell. But she also has heals. She's got traps. So you give your team a lot of utility. I mean, she really has the ability to help her team out in many ways. And in some ways, you're kind of this hybrid support, you know, because you're giving your team a lot of map vision and map control if you're throwing down a lot of traps, but then you also have those heals, so, you know, you can be healing up targets, and with a lot of AP, the heal is actually very strong. It's like a 0.7 AP ratio. Just doing horrible with my CS so far. But, yeah, overall, though, it's a really fun build, and I kind of want to talk about her playstyle, because it is a very specific type of playstyle, and it takes some getting used to. And I would say that some of my first games with AP Nidalee, I really struggled just because I did not know exactly what to do and what my role was. So let's just kind of talk about it. So first of all, let's talk about items. I would say that the most important thing here is that getting an early tier. An early tier is very, very important. See, I'm just kind of derping it here with Diana, taking some shots when I really didn't have to. Getting early tier of the goddess is really important. So because of that, I really like to start with a mana pendant. Or what is it actually called? Fairy charm. Starting with an early fairy charm, some award, and some pots, and maybe even 5 health pots and 1 blue pot. That's my favorite start with Nidalee. It's a really good all-around start, and she really does want the mana, because you want to be able to spam your abilities as much as you can while you're in human form. That's pretty huge, and so, especially in lane, you know, you're going to want to be healing yourself, and already you can see I'm already quite low on mana. So I'm going to need to take my mana pot here very shortly. And then early on, in general, I would say in lane, you're going to want to play pretty safe. You just don't have a lot of power in your human form. You know, your Q is mostly dependent on range and getting some good AP behind it, and I wouldn't say that those things are easy to come by early on. So you don't really have a lot of danger pre-level 6. Once you hit level 6, you can definitely turn on the pressure a little bit, but early in laning phase, I would say you're going to play a little bit more passively and just work on getting your early tier, stacking up as much as possible. This game was actually really interesting. Diana was just shoving the lane so hard. I mean, you can see her. She's constantly auto-attacking, constantly using her press and strike to shove the wave, which didn't really work for her because I actually stay ahead of her in CS pretty much the entire game. But she is shoving the lane. But I have the sustain to deal with this. I can handle this no problem. I can't really give anything back, but I wouldn't say that I'm in any real danger of dying. So, you know, unless she comes up with some crazy all-in with the jungler helping out, I wouldn't really say that I'm in a big world of hurt. As it looks like Hecarim going for a crazy double kill in bot lane. That's no good. But yeah, Diana kept shoving the lane, so it really prevented me from going back and getting an earlier tier, which kind of is a bit of a downer. You know, getting that early tier is quite important. But you do just want to focus on creep scoring and getting things rolling. Now, one of the really core things about playing AP Nidalee is learning how to correctly and accurately understand her spears. I mean, her spears are pretty much your main damage source. It's what it's all about. And you know, learning, you know, the range, you know, I smart cast her spears, but, you know, it might be helpful not to do that. Just because, you know, to have an understanding of the max range, I think, is huge. You want to know exactly how far your spears can go, have at least a ballpark estimate. because landing those max range spears just does so much more damage. It's so much more helpful. So that's kind of the first thing that you want to kind of get a grasp on is when you're throwing spears, you want to have an understanding of where the max range is. So right there, just hit level 6. Going to use my Cougar form. Actually, your Cougar form is much stronger for farming. You've got, you know, all three of your W, Q, and E are fantastic wave clear abilities. Great for farming. So once you hit level 6, don't hesitate to use that to you know, clear minion waves, especially when someone like Diana right here is just shoving the lane at me. You know, transforming into my Cougar form is really important. And I'm also okay with this because, you know, this is prime open for Sejuani to gank. Even though she really has not yet, at least the opportunity is available for her to do so. And I'm not missing any CS. I'm up 5 on Diana, who's shoving this lane at me almost non-stop. As my team gets way down here to start off with. But, yeah, so basically, after you get an early tier, you want to probably go into a Rabadon's Death Cap. And then, you know, you're pretty much going to want to continue building. You know, you're going to want to finish your stacking your tier, get that into a Seraph's Embrace, get a Void Staff, all that normal AP caster stuff. I mean, it's a very traditional AP caster build, really, in general. In terms of her skills and abilities, I really like to level up both the Q and the E. You know, I know with many champions, you tend to level up one ability and max it by level 9, and then the second one by level 13, and the last one by level 18. On Nidalee, I kind of like to throw a mixture of Qs and Es. I throw more Q points into Q if I want to be a little bit more aggressive and think I can actually pick up a kill. But I throw points in E if I feel like I really need to sustain, because, you know, the thing about her E is that it gives you that heal, and that heal is so important for laning with Nidalee. You can really, you know, you have a weak laning phase, but you also have strong sustain. So even though you don't have a tremendous damage potential, I would say that you have a very high survivability potential. You know, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Diana to kill me just because I've got that heal and that sustain. Now, really, you know, from here, I'm just farming. That's all I'm doing. You know, I could be roaming in my Cougar form, but because Diana has been shoving this lane so much, I really want to stay put and get this farm. But I would say that once you hit level 6, roaming is a very viable option. I actually haven't even gone back yet to buy him at level 7. But roaming is quite viable. You can see Hecarim coming through again. Check this out. Takes a couple turret shots, pop an ignite onto him, get his spear, and there he goes down. So, see ya, Hecarim. Really good job with the counter gank there on my part to pick up my first kill of the game. Kind of a silly move by Hecarim. But I'm in a good place. I'm up 12 CS on Diana, which I would say is unexpected just because of the amount of harass that she's been trying to, and just the way that she's been shoving the lane. You know, one of the primary reasons you shove the lane is so that they have to last hit under tower. And I would say Nidalee is a bit of a weak person to last hit under tower, just because in her human form she only has one ability with which she can last hit, and that's her Q, and it's relatively mana intensive. So you can see right here, it looks like I'm going to dive in because Sejuani's going for a gank, but that's not going to go anywhere. Not such a big deal. But so far the laning phase has been fairly boring, fairly straightforward. Just kind of farming it out. Gonna push out this wave and go back and buy finally with, like, I want to say I have like 2,000 some gold. Just a crazy high amount of gold, almost 3,000 gold so far. So I just pick up my Seraph's Embrace right off the bat, or Archangel Staff. I'm sorry, I think the Seraph's Embrace is what it transforms into, but I just picked it up just because I felt like I actually had the exact amount of money for it. It was a little bit of a risky play, definitely. A little bit greedy, but I felt like Diana has, you know, because she's been shoving the lane so hard and I'm still beating her in CS, I don't really feel that scared of her. See, getting some really nice wave clear, and I felt like this would give me a really nice range of stats, give me some mana, give me some AP. It's just, and even the mana regen, all those things work really well together for Nidalee, just because she can be very mana hungry. See, we're going in for a triple gank here, and they've got turret aggro, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue with this. I'm going to throw my auto attacks, my spear is going to actually be healing Sejuani there, but not actually going to pick up a kill. One more spear for good measure, but like I said, Nidalee doesn't have the strongest early game potential. Just because, you know, you need to get some items, you need to build up some AP, and you need to be landing those spears really to be effective. So, one thing I do want to talk about, though, before I forget, is getting a nice spear there, is why I think the AD Nidalee, the AD Bruiser Nidalee is kind of falling out of favor, and I want to talk specifically about the nerf to Nidalee's Cougar form that Riot in a couple patches back instituted. And basically, her Cougar form used to provide you with extra bonus armor and magic resist, but they actually removed that. So basically all you get now in Cougar form is a movement speed boost, so you don't get any of those extra defensive items, which is a little bit unfortunate. Because I would say that one of the core elements of her Bruiser build was that you get those extra defensive stats from your Cougar form. Because when you're in Cougar form, you're going to need to be up close. Her skills and abilities are very close range. Kind of derping it right there with a little bit of a poor trade with Diana. But you want to, because you no longer get that boost of stats, she just is going to have a harder time being effective. She's going to have a harder time being that strong bruiser. It's still a viable build, definitely, but it's kind of the main reason why I would say that this AP Nidalee build has become so popular. And yeah, we all know about the spears. So, but what I really want to talk about is how we kind of get to that point where we can be landing those spears. And at this stage in the game, I think that this is really where I feel like Nidalee kind of separates, and where a good Nidalee player can separate from a poor one. It's kind of this mid-game phase, because at this point you start to become a little bit strong and powerful. You've got your Cougar form, you're getting some ability power, and the thing about Nidalee is that she is so skill-based in her use. Because you have 6 abilities, you've got Cougar form, you've got extremely high mobility, you've got your passive, which gives you mobility from your brush, you've got your W in your Cougar form, you've got traps. I mean, she can really be all over the map, and I don't really do a lot of roaming in this game, but with Nidalee, you have the potential to really outplay your opponents just with your mobility. And I would say that that is a really core part of her kit, is that you want to be making sure that you are understanding when and how to use all of your abilities, and using them in rapid succession, and really making sure that you are just taking advantage of everything that her kit can do. Throwing spears, healing yourself mid-fight, transforming into Cougar form, getting a pounce to get over a wall, throwing down an EQ combo, going back into human form, healing yourself again, throwing down a trap to check a brush, throwing down a spear. I mean, there's just her gameplay is very dynamic. It's very fast-paced. She has a ton of options in what she can do and the way that she can get across the map. And I would say that knowing how to do that is really, really core to her gameplay. So right here, I actually am calling that Diana is Mia, and I actually I think I go ahead and follow this in. Just gonna go and try to help out. Gonna do a little bit of a trade here, missing my E, but I'm going to run back. And this was right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. With so right there, running back to heal, switching to human form, helping Pantheon pick up that kill, going into Cougar form here to try to get close range and finish her off, using my Ignite, WE, throwing down a spear, and getting an auto attack. So right there you could see, let's go ahead and watch this exchange one more time. And there are probably even things that I could have done better. But, so right here, I'm coming in Cougar form, missing an E right there, that's too bad. Getting a Q, now I'm jumping away, throwing a spear, throwing out a heal right there onto Pantheon. I know I throw out a heal at one point, there goes the heal. We pick up the kill, missing a W there, but getting an E, getting a Q, igniting, throwing a spear, and getting an auto attack. So it really just shows you how when you're playing, when you're in the heat of those battles and those engagements, it's very important to use all of your skills and abilities to, as much as you can. I mean, even right there, I could have done a better job of making sure that I got my heal off, and maybe even stayed in human form to get a second heal off onto Pantheon, using my trap to check that brush before I dove into it, using those spears, switching back into Cougar form, using my W to dive in, getting an EQ off. Her gameplay is just very dynamic, and she's very mobile. She can really do a lot. And at this point, I've really started to separate myself from Diana. I got 2 kills now, I got 140 CS, and I'm starting to get strong. Placing traps, using spears, I'm going to jump away. I'm really not that scared of Diana. I've got such high mobility. It's very difficult for her to actually kill me right there. Using a heal to get all of that damage back. Not a problem. I really, like I said, am not scared at all. looks like Pantheon's going in here, but that's not going to actually do anything. But good. He's going to dive in there, get a oh, nice spear right there, getting just kind of aiming that spear through the minion wave. That's also a really nice thing that you can do too. But like I was saying, this is really the point of the game where I think Nidalee started to take off. I finally stacked up my Archangel Staff to finish the Seraph's Embrace. One choice that I made this game that I want to talk about right here, roaming up again here to finish off Karma, getting just using my pounce. I got exhausted, but that's okay. Ooh, missing that spear very, very narrowly. Pantheon is going to dive in, and I'm going to follow him. Should be switching into Cougar form, but I really want to land a spear. And at this point, we're in trouble. So, you know, at this point, I want to remain in the back so I can throw spears, but also want to be healing Pantheon right there, throwing out a heal. Now we see Diana, and I'm pinging for us to go away, and I see Sejuani coming in, so we want to meet up. We want to try to gang up. Not a lot I can do there, but picking up a nice kill on a Hecarim with a long-range spear. We're going to dive into Diana. It's okay, Sejuani's tanking it. She's pretty tanky. I'm going to dive in with my Cougar form. I'm going to throw out a heal in my human form, throw out some spears, and we finally pick up the kill with a nice pounce. And both of us escape barely. Gonna go ahead and jump over this wall and run to safety. So just again showing you how you really want to be taking advantage of all of her skills and abilities. Up to 4 kills now, 154 CS. And there were even things that I could have done in that situation to help my teammates a little bit better. You know, making sure that I'm healing as often as I possibly can. Making sure that I am, you know, throwing down a trap mid-fight is not a bad idea. I'm gonna pounce over this wall to get a spear off onto Ezreal. Thank you, Ezreal, for walking into that. Could have thrown a trap down in there to make sure we get vision. I'm gonna throw another spear, but miss it. That's too bad. Going in with my Cougar form, getting a Q, pounce, E, ignite. He's gonna run away, but that's okay. I'm Nidalee. I'm a Cougar. There we go. Finishing him off with a nice spear. Can throw out another spear. Oh, okay. Well, thankfully, Pantheon got that kill because my spear was totally crumpled. I'm getting more spears off. Again, really the core thing here to understand about playing AP Nidalee is that you have to feel like you have command over all of her skills and abilities and use them all to their greatest extent. I'm up to 5-0, 160 CS, going for my Rabadon's Death Cap. Gonna pick up their blue buff. I'm in a really strong position, and the reason why I've had success is because I've started to roam. I really haven't had, you know, a straight-up one-on-one engagement against Nidalee, but I've been all over the map in this mid-game. I've been using all of my abilities, trying to help my teammates out with ganks, healing them, throwing spears, using traps, going into Cougar form, chasing. You know, Nidalee is an extremely strong chaser, using the mobility to the most of my advantage, making sure that I am all over the map. You know, because I've got a lead, because I am strong. I mean, look at this right here. I'm getting chased by Hecarim, by Diana, who both of which are very strong chasers, and they can't catch me. Not when I have Cougar form, and not when I'm running through the jungle. And I'm just trying to provide a little bit of interference while my teammates pick up Dragon. Just putting myself in a strong position, throwing out spears, trying to land a spear when I can. Because with Nidalee, here we go, got another team fight, using a trap to check that brush. Gonna throw out a spear to pick up a kill onto Jace, very nice right there. Now gonna be throwing out a heal onto our tank, Leona, running away, making sure that if they're gonna dive me, that's just fine, but I've got my Cougar form. See ya, running away, Misfortune's gonna ulti, I'm gonna come in, back in with my human form and gonna look for some heals, landing a spear, chunking down Hecarim. And I've got these guys pretty scared, because I can take them down. And but right here, I think that they actually juke me out, and they both are gonna recall. Now it looks like they're both gonna recall on that top brush. If only I would have. Oh, right there. Oh my gosh, I did not see her. That is too bad. But Ezreal's coming, so I'm not really sure if I can finish that off. But overall, it again just shows you up to 6-0 now, picking up that kill on a Jace. Nidalee, her strength is in her mobility and her versatility, her ability to adapt to multiple different situations. Her weakness, though, is she's not that good in straight-up team fights. She's not that strong. She doesn't have any CC. She doesn't have consistent damage. But what she does have is mobility and the ability to make plays that other champions cannot, to cover ground where other champions could not go. To really be this presence across the map in ways that not a lot of other champions could possibly do that. You know, but it is worth mentioning that I would say that one of her weaknesses is definitely her team fighting. So in a situation like this where we've got a big team fight, you know, my role as Nidalee is to poke down the enemy team so that you know, at least a couple of them are at, you know, a quarter or half health before we even start the team fight. That is Nidalee's job in a team fight, is to poke. Because once the team fight engages, she's in a bit of a pickle because, you know, her right there, exactly, getting a nice spear off onto Karma, getting her very, very low. I brought her down to about half health with one spear, throwing out more and more, just waiting for the right opportunity to land a spear. Thankfully that minion was in the way for them, otherwise that would have really tanked Diana. But what you can provide to your team is not so much this raw damage or this you know, strong team fighting presence. It's the utility. It's the hope before the engagement even starts. So right here, I'm following Misfortune. I want to heal her and peel for her as we pick up a kill on Hecarim. That's good. Now I'm in danger, so I'm being focused by Hecarim, so I'm going to run away, or Diana. Throwing spears, chunking down Jace, healing myself. Always in a position to throw more and more spears when they come off cooldown. There's another spear, getting Diana really, really low. And another, there we go, picking up the kill onto Diana. Can I get one more? No, yes, I do pick up that kill, but can't quite finish off Jace. And Pantheon's not in range to ult in, so I did pick up a double kill there, but I think that kind of displays how they're really, I would say Nidalee is a weak team fighter. That is not her strength in these straight up one-on-one fights. If you think about other champions like a Karthus or I don't know, a lot of the other, like someone like Diana even that I'm facing, they have the ability to dive and get kills and provide all this damage to their team. But Nidalee, she's not so much about that. I mean, you can be throwing out spears for sure, high damage spell, but if you miss your spears or if your spears aren't on point, you are going to be relatively useless to your team. So you have to keep that in mind. And if you aren't hitting your spears, which I would say is a difficult skill shot to land, probably one of the most difficult in all of League of Legends, just because it's a very slow projectile. And you get more damage at longer range. So the longer range it is, the more likely it is that your enemy will see it coming and be able to dodge it. I would say especially at higher levels with experienced players, they're much more capable of dodging. But that's not to say that you can't do anything. You just have to understand that compared to some other AP mages, you are not as strong in straight-up fights. Getting a nice chunk there onto Ezreal. Gonna just chase him away. I'm not scared of chasing him away. Checking that brush with the spear. Throwing down traps, throwing down heals. Using all of your abilities to their greatest extent. Providing a ton of utility to your team. Vision, health, long-range poke. You know, ideally, there should never be a straight-up 5-on-5 team fight where everybody is diving in and everyone on the enemy team has full health. Getting a nice spear there onto Diana. You know, right there, I got Diana low. That's going to allow Sejuani a lot more freedom and flexibility with her choices of when and where to engage. You know, I really, that is my role. That is what I can provide to my team. Not so much this consistent damage source where someone has a lot of CC. Getting a nice chunk there, and I do not want to be in this position, so I'm just going to run away. Actually going to flash away to break the tether, and I'm continuing to run away. I am so mobile. Even someone like Hecarim, he's going to have a hard time chasing me down. But not going to be able to pick up any kills right here. Going to throw down a heal. Just kind of lingering. You know, we've got all this action going on here. There's not a lot that I can do. I don't want to dive in with Cougar Form. I'm going to throw in a spear to help Pantheon secure that kill. But, ooh, getting another spear there onto, right here you can see I dive in and I end up paying for it with my life as I was trying to chase down Karma as she was really, really low. But that, I think, right there shows you how, you know, she can struggle in team fights. That is not her strength. She does not have the strong ability to really provide a high damage source presence in team fights. Her job and her role is much more... I don't know exactly how to describe it. It's just much more nuanced. It's much more of a finesse type of a role, rather than just kind of someone who can provide a ton of damage with a lot of brute force. So it's just important to be aware of that. It's important to understand what you can and what you cannot do. There are a lot of things that Nidalee can do, but there are some weaknesses that she cannot do. So let's kind of revisit my build. I decided to go for, I finished Rabadons, I got my Seraph's Embrace. I also went for Azonias. Azonias can be a good choice on Nidalee if you get caught out. If you want to dive in your Cougar form, try to finish somebody off with some damage. Get a nice spear there onto Ezreal. But if you want to get in the middle with your Cougar form, I would say Azonias is critical. And especially combining that with Seraph's Embrace, you've got the shield from the Seraphs. Another spear onto Ezreal. Look, let's see exactly how low he is. He is so low from 2 spears, almost instantly got him. But more, again, throwing out spears, throwing out heals, trying to do what I can to make sure that this battle is won before it even begins. Getting another spear there off onto Jace, getting him losing about a third of his health. Now, one thing too that I want to talk about on Nidalee, I really like building CDR. I bought CDR boots rather than Sork boots or Merc Dreads, which I would say are very common choices. And with boots, it's a little bit more of a personal preference. I would say that if you're going to go with Sork, like the magic penetration boots, sorcerer's shoes, that is a little bit more about, just gigantic upfront damage. If you actually, land those Qs, they're going to hurt really, really bad. They are going to absolutely sting. But, getting the cooldown boots is a little more about sustain damage. They are getting totally caught out in the middle, but I'm Nidalee. I can jump away. Throwing Spirit back into the middle of the fight. Diana's going to dive me, but it's okay. I've got my Zonias. Perfect time for the Zonias. And I do end up dying there, but Misfortune ends up picking up the kill. So that's okay. That's not a bad problem there. I got caught out. I got, chased onto by Diana, who is an assassin. She's going to be looking for targets just like me, but we were able to take her out. So now a huge source of their damage is gone. But as I was saying, cooldown reduction, I really do like it on Nidalee. I think it can be really helpful, and it turns, it just means more spears, basically, is kind of the brunt of it. It just means more and more spears. That's really the short end of it, is if you get CDR, you can throw out more spears, and that's just kind of a playstyle preference. Right here, I see that we've got Ezreal kind of getting overextended. I don't even know if he saw me coming, so I'm just going to chase him down and going to use my flash to follow him. And this is a pretty epic chase here because we're both extremely mobile champions. Just narrowly miss right there. Gonna go ahead and ignite him. Right here, gonna pounce in. He loses barrier, but that's okay. I am gonna finish off that kill. Maybe could have gone after Jace, but I did not actually know that he was there or where he was at. But that's okay. Ended up picking up that kill and fended off the turret. So that was a good situation right there. At this point, I'm probably going to be going for a Void Staff next. Very typical late game AP Mage type of a build. But again, like I was saying, cooldown reduction, I think it's a good choice on Nidalee. But that's kind of my personal preference because I would rather be more consistent and sustained because I feel like the spears can be inconsistent and you're not going to hit every one. So if I can get even 1 or 2 total more spears out in a team fight, I would say that that's worth it. Rather than if I land only a couple of spears and they really hurt really hard, I just would tend to outrun the numbers. That if I can throw out more spears, I'm going to end up doing more damage than throwing less spears and relying that they really, really sting. So kind of a bit of a personal preference choice there. Other cooldown reduction choices, you could go for like a Deathfire Grasp. I'm not sure it's the best choice on Nidalee just because she doesn't really have like an AP burst combo. If you think about a champion like Veigar, who has, 3 or 4 different spells that all do AP damage, throwing out a Deathfire Grasp right at the beginning of that and then getting that 20% extra magic damage, I mean, that's pretty huge. With Nidalee, it's more of like, you're mostly just getting it for the AP and the CDR. Not so much because it's a great choice. You can see another engagement here, and at this point, we definitely got caught out. But watch this. Going to be throwing spears to chase them away and stealing Sejuani. This actually, I think, was a play that Nidalee made that nobody else could have. Chasing away, continuing, transforming between human form, throwing out a heal, throwing out a spear, going back to Cougar form to get away. This is a place where Nidalee really shines. I really think that Sejuani would have died had I not been there to give her that extra bit of health and also to throw spears to try to deter the enemy from chasing. It just shows you, Nidalee has very strong utility. Getting a huge spear there onto Ezreal. He's getting really low. But he looks like he's standing around and he wants another one, so we'll try to give him one right in his... Oh, missed that one. That would have probably instantaneously if I could have got that turn. He's so low. let's go ahead and see where we end up here. And really at this point, like I was saying, you just want to be really certain that you are doing as much as you can for your entire team. You can see Hecarim coming in from the back here. That's fine. If he wants to come in, I've got heals, I've got spears, helping Pantheon pick up the kill there. Now I'm going to go ahead and heal him because he's been doing a great job getting him almost up to full health almost immediately. Just puts our team in a really strong position. He's going to be diving in there, but that's okay. I'm going to be going ahead using my Cougar form because I feel like I can finish off a Diana. When you get someone isolated, going into your Cougar form is not a bad idea. Oh, just narrowly missing my spear there. Going to try to chase down onto Jace, but throwing one more spear. Oh, narrowly missing onto that cannon creep.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
But, you know, you really do offer a lot of utility to your team. That's the biggest thing I could say about this AP Nidalee playstyle is you have the potential to really be a team mage, you know, a team AP mid player. Kind of like a secondary support who also is capable of a lot of damage. But you do have to realize that you don't have any CC, which is a pretty big negative. And you don't have a lot of consistent sustained damage. So, you know, at this point in the game, we're ahead and we're doing well, but I believe that I go through a bit of a stretch here where my team fighting weaknesses really are displayed, where if I get caught out in the mix and my team is looking for me for damage, where I'm not really going to be able to provide it. Because really our main damage sources are Pantheon and Misfortune. Sejuani is our tank, Leona's got a lot of CC, but I need to be providing poke and I need to be providing utility. Not so much the all-out upfront brute damage. So this is a good place for me to be. Just kind of lurking around in the brush, taking advantage of my passive, throwing down traps, finding vision of the enemy team, throwing spears where you know, the enemy team can't see them coming because they're coming through walls or they're coming through the brush. Those are the types of situations that Nidalee can really shine in. Those are situations that can make her very strong. You know, you can see just kind of poking around back and forth. There are a lot of wards everywhere, so we all are kind of looking at each other, but I am doing my best to try and you know, get a sense for the enemy teams that try to poke them down before the engagement even occurs. You want to be making sure that you are doing your best to provide that utility to your team. And right here, this was actually a situation where Sejuani went diving in, and we've got a fight going on over here. Finally, I'm actually joining the fight now. I'm going to go in with my Cougar form. Going to be trying to dive in, but Diana actually straight up bursts me down. I am dead. That was a bad situation. That was definitely a bad team. Right there, we got split up. Pantheon went for the triple, but nobody else on our team really was able to do a lot of damage. And actually, I'm pretty sure that Sejuani does end up falling right here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Oh, she's 28 health, really? She might just get away, but watch this. Jace with his shot glass. Really well placed. Gonna pick up that kill. But that was an example where our team got split up, and I dove in with my Cougar form, trying to do some damage. I believe I was focusing down Jace, and I really was not able to do a lot. I was not able to really get a lot done, just because that's a situation where it's a straight up team fight, and that's where Nidalee is weak. That is where Nidalee struggles. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to realize what you can do, what you can't do. Throwing out a spear to chunk down Jace, that's good. But in a straight up fight, you know, Nidalee is not going to shine like the one I just showed you. So I'm going to jump in here, help finish off Baron. But, you know, for a little while there, I was just trying to protect my team as they were doing Baron. Throwing down traps, throwing down spears to prevent Jace and Karma from getting in there and poking down and finishing, you know, trying to engage on my team. And one of the things about playing a poke champion is you want to poke is really good when it can discourage engage. You know, someone like Malphite, if he gets poked down and he's at low health, he's not going to want to dive in and use his ulti and get in the mix. But if you allow him to dive in before he really is scared, before he's really been chunked down, excuse me, if you allow that to happen, he'll make you hurt, he'll make you pay. And right here, we're under this tower tanking, and Hecarim dives in. This is definitely not a good engagement for our team. He's still taking turret shots. I'm just trying to throw spears. I'm trying to throw out some heals, but I'm in a bad situation, and it looks like Pantheon actually gets caught out there. missing my spear very narrowly onto Jace, and really just struggling to find my role, and definitely going down there to Karma. That was a bad team fight. I really was not able to do much for my team. Wasn't able to get a lot done. I missed my spear onto Jace, and therefore he lived. I wasn't able to really get a lot of damage done in Cougar form because I was scared of Ezreal. It just kind of shows you how, you know, sometimes things can go really well when you play it well, but then also things can go really poorly if you play it poorly. Nidalee is definitely a high-skilled champion. She requires that you really understand and take advantage of all of her skills and abilities, but it's very complex. You know, all of her usages are very complicated and complex, and can make things really, really difficult and tricky. You know, if you get a little bit confused and lost in a team fight, you can really lose your bearings, and all of a sudden you're dead, and that's definitely not a good thing. But in these kind of chases, Nidalee is actually good. She's a strong chaser. I'm just trying to find somebody to throw some spears on. I get engaged now by Hecarim, but I'm not that afraid. I'm going to get away. I've got Leona, I've got Misfortune, and throwing out a spear. Oh, just narrowly missed. But that probably would have been a kill. Now I'm going to follow in. I'm going to try to help my team out, getting a pickup there onto Jace with a nice spear. I'm going to get a heal onto Sejuani. She is such a tank. If I can give her health, that is a really, really good thing. Now chasing out here onto Ezreal. Sejuani is in trouble, but I'm going to use my shield, my Seraph's Embrace, and just continue to burst him down with... He's not going to get away from me, that's for sure. Wait, in my Cougar form. It's really impossible to get away from Nidalee. You know, so she's really good in those type of 1v1s, where the enemy is weak, you've got the upper hand. You know, Nidalee is going to be able to really do a lot of damage in that type of situation. So, at this point, the game is winding down. We're in a very strong place. We're up about 6k gold, and gonna throw out a heal out of Misfortune. Where's the heal? There we go. Finally picking up the kill there in Cougar form to get the ace. So yeah, overall, as this game winds up, I believe we just take the misses here. AP Nidalee, it's really about taking advantage of all her skills. Certainly, those spears are very strong and very powerful, but they're inconsistent. They are difficult to land, and a good enemy team will be able to dodge them if they're paying attention, because you can see it coming from a long ways away. But Nidalee has a lot to offer. She's got the heals, she's got the traps, she has the mobility in the Cougar form. You know, she has the ability to do so much. You know, she's not the strongest in a straight-up team fight, but she does have the ability to really contribute to her team in a variety of different ways. In a lot of ways, her playstyle is very different from a lot of different champions because, you know, she can do so many different things. She is truly the jack of all trades type champion. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. End up with 256 CS, second, only 2 down from Ezreal on the other team, but end up going 12, 5, and 11, and we end up picking up the victory with some solid team fighting there at the end. I hope this video helps show some of Nidalee's strengths and weaknesses, and that you guys can learn from some of these. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.